Yeah.
Yep.
I feel embarrassed. And we heard him loud, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mega Man. Yeah, thanks.
Well, you saw it. Turkey beating Russia 16-11 on train. I mean, who needs Xantares? Who needs space soldiers?
Yeah.
When these guys are all the soldiers Turkey need. At
Oh,
least on
nice.
train.
I mean,
Who expected that?
And
Honestly,
You.
kinda.
kinda, yeah. But yeah, he kinda said like, look, this going other way, 16-10 for Turkey. But yeah, you kind of predicted it. But no, honestly, like, who could expect? Okay, Calix and Voxic, yeah, we expected a good performance out of them. But then Mini with 28 frags at the end. What?
And he was on the city side. He was guarding the B side.
Yeah, alone.
And there were a couple of rounds where he hit some insane shots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, looking at statistics, the players themselves, you have to go with Russia. Like, before the match, we saw that the players from Supermassive lost in the first stage of the qualifier for the league, and now coming out with this performance, I mean, that's a hell of a team that beat them. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we were commentating on it when we were leaving the studio right after the segment that this is basically the teams that tries and failed to qualify for E-League, and then you have Gambit that is already there.
Yeah.
I mean, how is this possible?
I don't really know actually, because I think Russia really performed good on their city side at the beginning. They were leading like 8-3 at one point, but then Turkey, I don't know what hit them and what kind of calling they were getting at the start of the round, but they really performed well, coming with the 6 rounds on their T side, and then going for that city side, and they practically demolished Russia. I think Russia only won 2 rounds on their T side, and it was their pick. But yeah, I get it. You win the 9th round, you go for the city side, expect those 9 rounds. They got that 9 rounds, but I don't think they really performed good on their T side.
And again, it's train, and again, it's a pick for the team, and again, T side, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like, we had that with Slovenia, we had that, I'm not really sure, what was that, Ukraine maybe? I'm not really sure, but there was, or Bosnia. But like this is a trend now, like teams picking train and going on their T side and not having anything prepared for it. Okay, you can argue that on their CT side they weren't really that good. Yeah, they had the lead, but they dropped it, and yeah, they finished really weak towards that end of the first half, just finishing 8-7. But then again, when they switched to that T side, like 2 rounds is really not enough on that T side of train. And I think we needed to see more, and the score says it. We really needed to see more.
Yeah, I agree. But honestly, I think trouble started for Russia even on the CD side. They were leading 9-2, and then letting your opponent get 4 rounds and basically get back into the game. 9-6 scoreline on train on the T side. Yeah. That's pretty okay. Yeah. That's quite good. Yeah. I mean, and when you look at that, they won like what, out of 16 rounds, they won 2 after those opening 9.
Yeah.
Just some weird stuff happening on train, but well, GG to Turkey and the guys from Supermassive and Dark Passage. But can we expect the same on Mirage?
I mean, it's their pick. Now it's everyone's game, and honestly, it's looking grim for Russia now. Like, they needed to perform on their map. We needed to see something out of them. I mean, Space only had 7 frags at the end of the map.
True.
I mean, that's like basically playing 4 versus 5. He didn't contribute in any way, so we need to see him step up, as did Mike S against Netherlands against Denmark. He really tried, and they came close, but unfortunately they lost. But now this time he has Dozia really running a world at it as well, top fragging there, and I think he needs to step up and do work for his team.
Talking about Dozia, we have a replay. My replay, actually. I thought this could maybe be like a breaking point. Up until here, I mean, Turkey winning rounds. This was a full buy round for Russia, and Dozia, you mentioned it. He played this one round pretty well, I would say. Although Mini, I gotta ask myself, what the hell is he doing here? Like, he
knows he's there.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's 10-10. Dozia pretty much wins this round for Russia. Turkey's money was weak in the next round. Yeah, they had, I think, 3 M4s, an op, but 1 guy on pistols. So there was a chance for Russia to break the economy. But, I mean, the next round, Turkey just wins, like 3 or 4 guys stay alive, and it's just back on track.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this round, watching it then could be that, breaking point for Russia to get the win. But all in all, Turkey escaping with that one on the train. And well, now let's move on to Mirage. Rema, what can we expect?
Well, I actually think that on Mirage, Russia is probably going to compose themselves and say, like, if we lose this one, we are out. And I think they want to come here again. They were last year here,
Yep.
and they performed really well. Not to take anything away from them, but I think they really need to step it up here. Even though they're one map down, if they lose this one, they're out. But I think maybe if some of the players has a really good performance, it can bring a victory to Russia.
Now, we talked a lot about Turkey and their players, and Space Soldiers not able to play, but I mean, is it time to call in the hard hitters, Flamey and Seized? I'm not even sure are they able to play today,
yeah.
but
I mean, this is
your backs are against the wall.
Yeah,
you need
but
to win.
yeah, you have to realize that this is the lineup that won against Turkey in the
True.
first round of this in their group first opening match, and looking back at that game, like all of the players in that game performed, and that couldn't be said for today's first map. Like they need to compose themselves and realize, guys, this is win or go home. Like there's not no other thing to do. Like they need to win this map, and a lot of these players played last year here in the TWC final, and they reached semi-final, right? And they lost to France. Like they lost to France, and they beat all the other opponents. So they need to fix. There's a lot of fixes for this. Like just compose yourselves and go like calmly into the next map.
Yeah, but while we're at it, talking about the substitutions, we could maybe get a check on that if anyone is going to be substituted in either team. Okay, so there's a delay because Turkey is actually switching the players, so the guys from Space Soldiers are maybe here.
No, the thing is, even though Supermassive
Right,
lose,
I've forgotten that.
yeah, Dark Passage still has a game to play.
Yeah, true.
And they were waiting for that opponent. So, I mean, you don't have now Calyx, you don't have Oxic.
The problems continue, but somehow Turkey,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna follow the trend, they're gonna, even without them, they're gonna win this Mirage.
Well, it depends on what.
I mean, on paper they become weaker and weaker, but in reality, it's
They step up
completely
and step
different,
up, and who knows?
Yeah, Russia didn't really perform that well. I mean, they definitely on paper they have really good players and really standout players, but in that performance on train, like they played really good at the beginning, but when they started losing in the rounds on their T side, I think they kind of were demolished or something because they didn't really perform on their T side that well. I mean, you pick train. You expect from teams to go with executes, to go with, I don't know, some team play coming into that one, but I think it all came down to the individual skill, and when that individual skill failed them, they didn't have any backup.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on Mirage. I just want to remind our viewers that we have a giveaway for you. All you need to do is go to bit.ly/TWC2K16 and you'll get all the info what you need to do to enter that giveaway. We have some cool Fate Case knives, TWC mouse mats. Wow, I picked that up from Sunny. I can't believe I said that. Mouse pads, some TWC jerseys, some skins. So basically all you need to do is show your support for your national team, take a picture, send it to us. And well, if you're creative enough, you'll get in there and win some nice prizes. Check it out at bit.ly/TWC2K16. I'm not sure how long this pause will be. Okay, we have the graphics on the new Turkish lineup. Let's check it out.
Yeah. Okay, so Parker instead of Calyx.
Something like that, yeah.
And
I mean, it's not really important who is playing instead of who,
These
but the
guys,
new players will be Parker, E1, and Karas.
Can we get info for which team they play? I mean, it's
Well,
really.
Mini, you mentioned Mini.
Yeah.
He had a
Stepped
really
up,
good game on train, so maybe he can carry that over to Mirage.
Yeah, he can, but as I said in the pre-game show, like Russia, they're known. I mean, not only Russia, but the whole CIS region and those 1.6 players, they're really known to play good on Mirage. And I mean, I'm not. Their chances, like as you said, they're going down and down, but their performance is going up. So we'll just have to see what happens on Mirage. I guess.
mean, who knows? Karas, he's only 18. Maybe the new Xantares, even though Xantares is like what,
21.
20.
21.
But yeah, Parker, 29.
Blue,
maybe-
16.
Maybe. Who?
Wait, who?
Oh, look at that.
How old is Oscar? Like 31 or something?
Who?
Oscar?
No way.
Yeah,
No
something.
Check
way.
it.
He's that old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
something
old.
from 29.
29 to 30, something.
30.
Seriously.
Serious?
I didn't think.
No, seriously? No.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, you mentioned it. Let's go with it. We need to fill time. Oscar in Mountford.
No, I wanted to say something else actually.
Smooth transition.
Say something else.
Yeah, I think
That's not
when,
something else.
when you mentioned, while you mentioned that the lineup on paper is going down, 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 but their performance keeps on giving. Maybe because they love to play with each other. Maybe that's the point. I mean, in Russia, you had Flamey and Seas that it didn't
That
really go
could
too.
be the point.
That
Yeah.
didn't really go too well. I mean, maybe you know when you're a player from the
But
let's say
don't-
high caliber team from tier 1 team, and you play with the players that tier 2, tier 3, and you know you're like up and there here, and you're like judging some of the situations as Colt did about his teammate. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons their performance keeps on giving, because they love to play each other, maybe play with each other, and because they probably know each other well.
I mean, yeah, you could argue that there's a
Basically,
ego
what Rama
involved.
said is Navi is tier 1 and Gambit is tier 2 or tier
Yeah,
3.
even though they're both
No.
legends.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm joking.
I think maybe some conflicts may come
Yeah, sure.
when you start losing. I mean, when
Oh,
you're winning.
But
And
I mean,
when you
you're
start
basically
losing, then you're
taking it
Russian.
away from Belgium. Belgium, I wasn't here, but as far as I know, they played really well.
And that was Toinu
Yeah.
stepping up massively for his team, even though like overall the whole team played great. The existence showed us that he can frag actually, and I mean we all know him as a in-game leader, not a fragger, but he really stepped up as well as did Tony. Wow,
Scream
Scream
played,
and-
but Scream didn't really have.
Oh,
I
he
mean,
had
he
cool
had-
one-taps.
Yeah?
One taps.
I mean, with the new the new patch, you're basically expecting Scream to go and be Scream once again.
Yeah.
But so far, it doesn't seem so. I mean, he's still good, of course,
Yeah.
but those one taps are not going through the roof, definitely.
Yeah, in that game on Cobble, I think he had a pretty good game, even though he was not maybe top fragging, but he was up there. But in the mind of G2, when playing with G2, yeah, he didn't really have good performances as of late. I think Body really stepped up for G2 there.
Well, I mean, it was enough from him on Cobble
Yeah.
to talk
Yeah.
about his one taps.
I like the I like the team preview, and you all have that headshot percentage, and everyone's like 50, 45,
Scream had
30,
75.
75.
Seriously.
Seriously, like
Okay.
there's
No.
no.
Let's go back to Russia and Turkey and Mirage. I'm not sure who picked what.
Yeah,
Didn't hear
let-
it. Okay,
Thank
Russia won the knife, picked the city side, so they have that going for them. They are again playing,
They
at
had
least
the
on
same
paper,
team for on train.
against a weaker lineup from Turkey. Taking all that into consideration, let's hear your predictions.
I think World needs to have a high impact coming into this one. I think he needs to perform with AWP, especially around that mid area. So I'll go with Russia winning this one 16-2 to 10.
Dusan?
I'm not gonna give like this is the fourth lineup that they could have brought, so I'm gonna go 16-6 again. I
Okay.
did say 16-6. I don't see it. Like I might be crazy, only crazy guy here, but I just don't see it.
Okay, I mean, could be. We will see. I don't want to see the result, but I'm going to believe in the Turkish fairy tale and that they can win it. That
Okay.
much.
Okay.
We'll see it. Russia against Turkey on Mirage. Second map, Turkey winning first one on train 16-11. Mirage, well, can Turkey take it all the way? Mega Man and Harry, let's see it.
Can they take it all the way? Indeed. It's a little bit of a revamped roster for the Turkish side. They're going to lose one of their big players out of that train victory in Kalix, who is no longer with us. He's been replaced by Parker. And we're also going to see Sasuke drop out, as well as Woxic. And Woxic had a pretty big showing on this map the other day when they played. Unfortunately, he is not going to be in the server for this one either. So it's going to be down to Mini. Can he replicate the performance that he had on Train? And starting off strong, actually gets the goosh onto Doja down there. Once again, I am joined with Just Harry. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, no, dude, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Look at all this damage.
Yeah,
Jeez,
no,
Harry.
there's been a lot done. Doja's down at 12, Wada is down at 22. Bomb's actually down now over towards that A site, and the rotate is coming in thick and fast from Russia. They've got to try and hold on to this, and well, Glove is doing everything in his power to not let that happen as he finds one on his space. It's going to put into a 3-on-4. HP and man advantage going the way of Russia. Is going to get equalized out by Electronic on the Glove there, but Karis is able to pick up one onto Doja. And I mean, right now, they're doing a good job of holding this down. Parker gets Electronic, and now it's all going to fall in a world edit here. 1 versus 3, USP in hand. And, well, I mean, you know, that gun makes you sound like Sam Fisher, but 1 versus 3, he's against the odds. He's got to get out of there. And it is looking like he's just going to save the armor, take it into the next round. I don't entirely disagree with that play either, because it does mean, you know, just a little bit cheaper buying up into the next round as well for the Force for the CTs. Will allow him to have a little bit more money and hopefully pick up that AWP in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to at least maybe upgrade a pistol into this one as well to just have a little extra firepower moving forward, as he was one of the only 2 players on that CT side to get frags, so we shall see. Scout in hand.
Yeah, so actually opting to pick up a scout instead of save for the 3rd round AWP buy, which, you know, potentially he could do a good bit of damage here as well. That it with a scout in hand is a truly terrifying prospect. As we now go into the 2nd round, Turkey, they took the first. Can they replicate the results that we saw from the first map? This is, of course, their map pick. It's going to be Mirage, and, well, looking at it now, it's going to be an aggressive play from Electronic. He's going to get punished for it. His Glove finds him. No questions asked. That's going to help open up that B site. Space is the only one here to try and hold this one down. The rest of the Turkish side pushing out mid, looking to try and take control of that. Glove finds one on a wall edit as well. That's down in towards Kitchen. That was the rotate. Space, though, does manage to mop up Gloves. So that's going to be him dealt with. That's the 2-for-1 trade. Not too favorable there for Russia. As Turkey, they managed to get full mid control for their troubles, and they've managed to get Parker as well. Pushed all the way up into the window, well, near the window room by ladder room now, as he peers on through. Isn't able to find anyone in there just yet, and he's able to pick up one on the Doja. Now it's going to go 2-on-3. Space using the AK that he picked up earlier to his advantage. He is going to get taken down by Parker playing that close angle. He wasn't expecting him there, just lurking in the vents, and that's all going to fall on a hooch here. 1 versus 3. CZ in hand, playing the sandwich area. And let's see if he can do any damage. He can't, as Mini mops him up. No problem. It's going to go 2 rounds on the board now for Turkey. A good bit of damage done there by Russia, but I think they were expecting more.
Well, they were absolutely expecting more out of that. That was a pretty heavy investment from them. They had 2 scouts, Electronic and World, and Electronic gets caught out playing a very aggressive angle in that B hallway, and that just allows so much room for Glove to work forward, pick up a couple of extra kills, and then eventually he gets traded out. Yeah, and of course, I mean, Space is able to find a 2nd kill out of that round, but he gets traded back. They get the AK off of him, and they get 3 AKs to carry forward into this round. Now, we're going to see the UMP lead the charge. He's going to be looking to do the damage into this one, and he's going to get an opportunity here at 2, maybe even a 3rd, finally taken down, as Electronic's going to find that. But E1 comes in with back-to-back frags, and again, it's all down to World Edit. He's got the Zeus out. He got 2 Zeus kills on Train, but as of right now, it doesn't look like he's going to be presented with any bodies thrown his way. His Glove going to go in towards the jungle side. Take a little cheeky peeky. Not going to find anybody over there for right now, and he's just trying to line up the sound, but yeah, he's not going to get anything out of that round. 4 players stay alive, and 1 frag comes off of the back of that UMP, so a little extra cheddar in the bank for the Turkish side. They are going to carry over a heavy monetary advantage over the CTs, and with one round for Russia to be able to get back into this one. Otherwise, they're going to be on that buy, lose, save scenario, and Turkey could potentially pull ahead to a 5-0 scoreline.
Yep, and that is a truly devastating prospect here for the Russian team, who've looked so strong up until this point. And while Turkey, they're taking full-on mid-control early on. You'd expect with these roster changes, Russia would be dominating them right now. But if anything, it's looking like Turkey have secured a fairly decent early head start on the T side here. Well, that he's going to be looking into mid with that M4, trying to catch anyone as they walk down beneath that smoke. Well, he might be able to spot out Mini here as he starts to push out into the connectors. Going to be able to take him down. No one's had a trade from E1. Does late come around the corner. Is able to get that trade. That's going to give a one-man advantage over to Turkey here as Glove finds a little bit of success over towards the B site. Onto space. Electronic does come in with one of his own, but Karis with a nice flick in mid. He's going to get one. Looking for the second as well. Open hand, and he finds it. That's Electronic going down. And now it's all going to fall into Doja here. 1 versus 3. He's looking over towards short. Can take down Karis with a nice headshot there, but it's still a 1-on-2. Glove only on 6 HP, so Doja is going to be going for this one as bomb still is not yet planted. Finally comes on through, and now he's faced with an awkward decision here. Does he go for it? Glove's going to be holding this close angle, and Parker isn't there to trade for him, so could get caught off guard here. Flash is going to go around the corner. Oh no, he changed his mind. What's going on? Glove constantly evolving. He's going to get caught out as Doja lands a nice flick shot there. Now it's going to be a one-on-one. Glove didn't need to give that kill away. And this could potentially throw this round away now for Turkey. Doja's going to push him. He finds it. He doesn't have a kit, but I think he's just got enough time to grab this defuse.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but he should have it. Yep. So, Russia, it comes down to the 1v3, and Doja's able to execute it. So, a nice round from him. It's his first 3 kills of the match. But the biggest part about this is they've got so much money on that terrorist side. They're going to fully invest into this one. They lost 4 players on the Russian side. So, the reinvestment is actually going to be weaker into the... Or the investment in the round is actually going to be weaker into this one than they had in their original gun round. You can see a UMP, a scout, limited grenades, and a fast push up the A ramp, and Doja's already hit the deck, and he's the one that had the firepower superiority over the rest of his team. Now the long-range ump play from Hooch is going to be able to net them 1 kill in return, but the biggest part about this is just the fact that they can continue to relentlessly push up onto this A bomb site, but World Edit going to find one on the glove, skimming through the smoke. They know that the hit's coming towards A. There's all 4 CTs are over here. But a nice return nade is going to find Hooch there out in the backside of Firebox. Spaze is going to be able to find 1 traded, but it's Parker and E1 to find 2. They don't need to peek on Electronic, but they do it anyway. And now it's going to be a 37 HP, plays an 83 HP. We'll have to see if they can continue to recover into this one because Russia right now are in control of this round. But again, it's 4 players on the dirt for both teams.
Yeah, once again, Turkey taking these unnecessary peaks could have risked throwing them the round away now. And Electronic is going to hear that bomb get planted, so he knows it's A. As he slowly makes his way over, he's going to be able to spot out E1, and it's going to go the way of Russia as they take it to a 2-3 scoreline now. And, well, Corey, a recurring theme seems to be that Turkey, they keep taking these 2 versus 1s when they don't need to. You know, they split it into a series of one-on-one plays for the Russian side. And while the Russians, they're very, very good at clutching it out in those one-on-one situations. So they split them into 2 or 3 different one-on-one engagements. And of course, Russia are going to be taking that out from under you.
Yeah, and the biggest bit about that is when that player dropped out of Palace, Electronic shot at him. He knew that he was over there in jungle. So all he had to do was maneuver around Firebox, work his way around. He could have potentially been through the site and got close on the bench side of the site. And then when his teammate tried to cross into the site, he could go for the trade frag. And instead, he wide peeks out from the backside of default, and it ends up costing him his life. This round, it's mid-aggression, the order of the day for the Turkish side, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade favoring the Russians. So it's a decent recovery, but again, a little bit of economic damage dealt early on into the round, and we'll see whether or not the Turkish side can capitalize on this, even though they are down a player.
Yeah, with how Russia are split currently, B looks like the best site they could probably hit up. I mean, you've got Hooch. He's going to be covering the mid-area M4 in hand. Well did it as well down by Connector, looking out into mid, scoped up short, and then Doja playing that CT. So A is very much locked down and off the cards for Turkey right now. And I think they're going to be reading that fairly well as they shift 2 players up into apps here. Bomb still left kind of neutral into T-spawn with, I believe that's E1 holding onto that bomb. And now these remaining Turkish players trying to decide what to do. They're keeping that over towards the lower tunnels, but... yeah, it's looking like that's where they're going to be heading as they go down. So A, I think, is actually going to be the hit here, which could prove to be very detrimental to their success. Bomb's going to be making its way out mid, all by his lonesome. That's E1. And well, Flash goes out. Hoocher is going to be in for the peak. Jumps down, does find one, and a Parker Glove gets that return frag, but now they know where they are. They have the information. It's going to go 2-on-3 with a 1-man advantage in favor of Russia here. And well, Space coming in from Catwalk is going to be able to potentially land this here as he takes down Glove, and that's going to go 3-all now with it. 3 members of the Russian side surviving, so now their economy is going to start to be built up as well. And Turkey, it feels like they are going to be slipping a little bit behind now as they go onto the back foot.
Yeah, and that's a little bit unfortunate that they read that situation wrong. If they would have gone towards B, Space only had the FAMAS over there to defend by his lonesome. They had a Hooch over in window room, World Edit and Connector, and a player playing in A. I believe it was Doja that was over there. But the snake to the top side of mid, ooh, that's going to do a little bit of damage. He's going to do a little bit more, but the double spray down from Hooch going to be able to find 2. Mini with the Deagle, though, able to answer back. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade favoring this CT side thus far, but aggression, Electronic going to get himself up top, finds out where that last player is, drops a nade right on his feet, and that's actually going to finish him off. So a swift 3K there at the end of the round for Electronic, and the Russians find themselves in the lead for the first time in this map at a 4-3 scoreline. But we are going to go right back onto a bye round. And honestly, I would like to see something fast out of Turkey, a fast hit towards A, maybe just a YOLO rush B, just to get into one of these sites and put the pressure on early for the Russians, because their trade game has been relatively on point. And it looks like they're going to posture up for an A take here after this Molotov abates from that A ramp.
Yeah, well, then he's going to be trying to cancel out Mini here in mid, and he does so, takes him down. That's going to give Russia the early one-man advantage. The remaining 4 Turks slowly making their way up ramp, as that Molotov did come in earlier to delay the push. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. Plenty of time for them to do stuff here as a nade goes out, and that's going to push down to 10 HP. Gloves able to find him with a nice crisp headshot there. Well, they're trying to get the return frag with the AWP as he peeks on out, and he's going to get flashed him onto that position, but Electronic comes in with 1, manages to make it 2. He's looking for a 3rd, and E1's going to be the last left alive. Space comes in from CT, and that's a complete mop up there as Turkey get shoved through the meat grinder just brutally. It's going to go 5-3, and Russia, they secure themselves a 2-round lead over their Turkish opponents.
Yeah, unfortunately, they telegraphed that hit a little bit too much, and Russia was able to adapt before the push actually came in. You could see that they had 3 players over there that were in that bomb site. 4, actually. Once, I believe it was Hooch got shot in the face, I think it was. So a little bit unfortunate that that's the way that it goes down, but it is the way that it is. This time around, Hooch going to overextend a little bit too much, but it's Doja in the site that's going to be able to hold. They're going to be able to clear him out, but it's World Edit to return, and the trades going favorably here for the CT side. As you can see, the HP advantage heavy in their favor, 72 and 49 respectively for Mini and E1. The push is going to be coming in. Electronics is going to be able to find 1, but the trade comes back out, and it's Space to make it a 2 versus 1, and Space to finish it off. So the player who was relatively absent in that opening map is going to already have as many kills as he finished Train with. As we finish out our 9th round, he's on 7 and 5. That's Space that I'm talking about, in case you guys weren't around for map number 1. He had an absolutely abysmal showing on Train. This time around, he seems to be firing on all cylinders, turning things around for his own favor.
Yeah, the weak link here does seem to be Parker, who, of course, was subbed in for Calyx, I believe. The stronger player on the Turkish side, and right now it does seem to be he's struggling to live up to the name he's been brought in to replace. Doja's gonna be able to find 1. Hoocha comes in as well. Doja finally gets taken down by E1, but while they're reading this very well with the AWP, is gonna do lots of damage. Dunk nade comes in, and Parker gets blown into the next dimension. E1's gonna be the last hope here for the Turkish side, completely surrounded by Russians, and he's gonna get taken down. 7-3 goes the scoreline. 4 rounds between these 2 teams now, and Russia, they're distancing themselves more and more from the Turkish side as we continue into this. The 11th round now, and it's going to be a rifle by for both teams. Mini opting to pick up that AWP as well, and we haven't really seen him take the AWPing role much. That did fall onto Woxic, but now that Woxic is out, I guess Mini has decided that this is the time he needs to pull through for his team with the AWP.
Well, he's pulling through. He finds the opening pick there on the Hooch. It was Karis that started off with the AWP for them in the opening gambit of things when they went into the first gun round, but ultimately that was the Doja 3v1 that he was able to win. So not looking too great for Turkey thus far through this half, but they do get the early man advantage into this one. Now they just need to trade favorably, and you can see on the other side of this smoke, look at this push from Space. He's going to find 1, finds 2, and he equalizes things into a 3v3. That's a big find here for the Russian side, an information play, if you will, but they get bomb site control. Now they've just got to hold on to things. Look at how aggressive Electronic is, just straight out from Connector. He's going to find that pick. He's at least going to get taken down, but it's Doja again to find 2. They denied the bomb plan as well, and that's going to leave Mini in a very sticky situation. He was expecting that bomb to be planted and just be able to lurk in these B-side halls, but unfortunately for them, that's not going to be the case. And now they've got full control of this B-bomb site back into the CT hands of Russia. So this is very difficult now for Mini. He's going to have to do some serious work moving forward. He's just biding his time for right now as he is lagging out.
Yeah, I mean, 300 ping, not ideal. But, you know, maybe Mini can make this work in his favor. You know,
That's actually really unfortunate because he lags out while his team's trying to take that site, and now he dies because of it. In other words, he might have actually been there to be able to trade for his squad, but because he started lagging out in the backside of those B halls, he's not available to help his team at all. So it ends up being a 2v2 on that bomb site as opposed to a 3v2, and they end up losing the round because of it. That's actually really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, that is a damn shame. And of course, it's going to mean it's going to 8-3 now as Russia secure a 5-round lead over the Turkish side. And it's a shame as well because Mini's been such a key player. So for him, you know, to drop out then when they needed him the most, that's not gonna bode well for the old confidence. I can imagine Mini's probably gonna be feeling fairly disheartened or perhaps angry by everything that just happened there. And I mean that's like the perfect combination to tilt a man. And I feel like, you know, if Mini starts to be put on tilt for the Turkish side, then it's gonna. I think we're gonna see us go to map number 3 because I don't know. He's been fairly dominant. I mean, he's top fragging right now, 10-10 for the Turkish side, seconded by E1 and Karas, the 2 subs for who are they subbing for? Sasuke and Woxic. Yeah. So, you know, they are putting in the work that they needed them to. Parker's been a little bit quiet, and Glove being the consistent fragger that he is. But still, 8-3 is the scoreline currently in Russia. They're looking very, very dominant.
Looking dominant indeed. And that's the big thing, 8 rounds in a row. They lost the pistol round, the subsequent anti-ecos afterwards, and Turkey looked good going through those rounds, but lately into these last couple, it's been pretty rough. It looks like Mini's ping has subsided. His lag seems to be a thing of the past now, so hopefully everything will be all right, and we will get back into this matchup. But with that being said, I mean, it is going to be back into a rifle round. It's unfortunate that Mini went for the AWP last round. Now he's going to be resigned to a Tech 9 and head armor. So they do have good nade kits on each one of the players for Turkey. So expect to see a heavy execution into one of the 2 sites. But the biggest part about this for me right now is the lack of firepower that they have. The AWP is actually in the hands of Doja right now. It hasn't been thrown over to World Edit, but he's got $12,700. So he can buy whatever the hell he wants. He can even go for a Negev if he wants. Not saying he will, but he could.
Now you got to go M249. It's
that gun sucks.
It's
this
like
is how I know you're Gold Nova 4.
It's like no. The reason why I like it is because it reminds me of myself, right? You're the Negev. I'm the M249. I'm like the worst little brother of the substantially. That's true. That like the M249 is the gun you buy if you're trolling and you're really not going for kills, like you know. But then like the Negev is the one where you're trolling, but because you're better, like, you know, that's how it works. I'm pretty sure at least. But yeah, Russia, they take that 5-round lead, and Turkey, well, they're trying to sort out Mini's ping right now. And like you say, and I think this is a very valid point, they looked really good into the first few rounds, even when they were losing. They came down, you know, to 1 member of Russia left. And it was taking those unnecessary 2v1s and, you know, taking the unnecessary peaks that were costing them, you know, the first 3 rounds after the eco, where we saw Russia take it to 3-all. But then past that, I feel like Turkey, they've started to slip now, and the victories are becoming a hell of a lot more one-sided in Russia's favor, with, you know, 3-4 players staying alive as opposed to the 1 that we saw in the early stages of the game. And I think that's because Turkey is starting to lose their steam, starting to lose their momentum, and it's all starting to take a bit of a hit now on their ability to frag.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, big part about this right now is the lack of firepower in the hands of Mini. He does have the pocket AK, aka the Tech 9, but again, I mean, it's going to be a hit telegraphed over towards this A bomb site. They did throw a decoy up to the top side of mid to maybe throw a little bit of a distraction, but look at this. They've got 2 players that are on catwalk. The rotation is going to be so fast in towards this A bomb site once the execute starts to come in, and you'll see it. I mean, if you're looking at the mini map at the top left of the screen, just watch it once they start this execution. Just watch the dots move around. You can already see 1 player coming up from connector, 1 player coming from jungle. The player that's on catwalk is just waiting for an underpass push, and the player from B is already hightailing it over towards that A bomb site. Hooch is going to be able to get the trade frag. Mini is going to hit the dirt, but E1 was able to open things up, and they get control of the bomb site. They've actually got control down in the CT, and Karas is going to be able to find that. The unfortunate thing is that he gets dinked for his troubles. But now they are going to at least solidify a bomb plan into this round, and this is the best looking round that we've seen thus far from Turkey. Glove's going to find one in CT, and again, we are going to be seeing the retake on. But they have Hooch? no idea that Hooch is here. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get that second kill, but it's going to be Glove that falls to the hands of Electronic, and now it's at least in the manageable range where it is a 2 versus 1. But a nice peek from E1. He times it well. He's going to be able to find that headshot there onto Electronic, and that will be finally Turkey able to answer back.
Yeah, they get that 4th round on the board just to show once again that they can win these rifle rounds. And I mean, that actually does a lot to Russia's economy. They haven't particularly been winning with that many people left alive. So as a result, if Turkey, if they secure this, and they can take it to an eco round for Russia. And that would bode very well for them. Could actually allow them to take the 8-6 scoreline with the potential for it to go 8-7, which isn't a bad half at that point. It's fairly even. But they are going to be slowly making their way in towards a ramp now. You've, of course, got a Mini pushing up through apps on his own. Electronic's going to be the one to peek this, and he might get caught off guard, and he is. Mini's looking the complete wrong way. That's going to start things off great for Russia here. One man advantage early on, but Glove goes out. He finds one. Looks in the CT now. Well did it. Peek from stairs. Gets one. Looking for the third. Looking for the second. Manages to make it 2. He's finally going to get taken down. E1 comes on through, gets 2 of his own, and it's been such a flurry of frags as he gets out onto the site here. And now he's got to go back and get that bomb because it got dropped all the way back in T-spawn. And this is a huge error now for Turkey, as there's a minute left, and you know the smokes are subsiding. The bodies are just left to be counted, and well, I mean, he now has to live with the consequences of his actions. Bomb is left all the way back in their spawn. He has to go back and get it, and that's going to relinquish a lot of the site control here. The only benefit that you can get out of this is that Husha, if you look, is pushing in towards the B tunnels area, thinking that perhaps it could be a B plant, only leaving Space here to try and hold this one down, but still, it's going to be a one-on-one to open things up. That is going to put E1 in a fairly good place to hold on to this, as Hooch probably going to be rotating back over any minute now, as he's going to learn that B isn't the site, and it all comes down to whether or not E1 can open this up. Gets out onto the site. Now, he might think they both rotated off, but he's going to check CT, but Space finds that kill, and it's going to go 9-4, which is a real shame there. If that bomb wasn't left back in T-spawn, that round could have gone an entirely different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they at least would have been able to get a bomb plan out of that. But it's like you said, I mean, it's unfortunate that they leave the bomb behind. They don't carry that with them in towards that bomb site. And the only benefit to that later on in the round is the fact that it actually split the defenses, because they had absolutely no idea where he was at that point. But look at this push from Electronic. He gets himself out through window, up on top of that catwalk early on, and he's going to be able to peer over the top of that smoke and finds E1. Even though this is an eco round for Turkey, they are going to be able to do a little bit of damage moving forward into this one. Electronic's got to bide his time and be careful here, but Space is coming around to support. There's one in underpass, there's one at the top side of mid, and this should get cleaned up relatively easily, and there you go. Electronic picking up a second one on the round, and World Edit going to finish things off with the USP frag onto Glove and underpass. And this is a completely different story than that opening gambit on Train. You saw how Turkey did not win the pistol round. They were able to put 6 rounds together on their T side throughout grit and grinding gun rounds. This time around, they only get 1 gun round so far out of this half. Potential for 1 more here at the end, and a 10-5 scoreline would be a little bit more beneficial to them than a 11-4. So we'll have to see if there's going to be that 3-round swing one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, if they can manage to secure this round, it could bode very well for them, as it's going to be the last round of the first half. A 10-5 scoreline isn't anything that's that unrecoverable, but Doja's going to start things off with 2. Space is going to only be able to find 1 before getting traded down. And, well, the push is going to be on the way over towards B. Parker opens things up with a nice double kill there, taking down Wilder and Space over towards that B site, but they're not going to account for Electronic, who's already pushed out. He does get spotted, but E1 goes for the plant, and Electronic mops them both up in spectacular fashion. He's been a very prominent player currently on the CT side, top fragging for his team.
19 and 9, wow.
Yeah, pretty absent on the Train map previously.
Well, no, I mean, it was World Edit and Electronic that were the top 2 fraggers for Russia on Train. It's just that once they got onto the terrorist side, neither of those 2 players really had a lot of impact into those rounds, because they only won 2 rounds on their T side. It's just Electronic. I mean, he's been consistent throughout this best of 3 thus far, and a big key to Russia's success on the defensive side. You saw he was very strong on CT side of Train. He's very strong on CT side of Mirage. It's going to be whether or not he can carry that over into the second half. And Glove, well, he's going to get aggressive behind this one, and we'll see whether or not he's going to be able to find anything out of this. He's going to have to fall back and wait for his teammates to give him a little bit of support, because they are shoulder checking him in Electronic. There you go. He's going to open up, finds one. Karras answers back on the World Edit, but they are starting to swarm around the site. They haven't cleared out Karras yet. They're going to spam away with blocks. They still haven't taken him down. Mini's going to find Doja, and now we're on to a 3 versus 3. Make that a 2 versus 3. Now a 1 versus 3. As Space and Electronic going to find their a couple more kills into this round as Hooch also lights up one, and it's going to be down to Parker in a 1v3 who has yet to rotate into the site as he's coming around from the market side.
Yeah, him being locked out in sight does just deny any sort of presence from him, and that's going to be him taking out a 15 HP very early on. Space jump shot with the Glock finds him. And no problems there as they trade nicely into him with a double peek. And yeah, the first round is going to go the way of Russia, so it's going to go 12-4 currently, with the potential for them to take this to a, what, 13-4 scoreline, which would be a great start to this for them. And, well, sorry, I mean a 14-4 scoreline, right? Yeah, 14-4.
Yeah,
My
and
bad.
actually, I just want to throw this out. Somebody in chat, Kiki Anderson, actually said this really well. After Turkey was up 3-0, they lost rounds in a 3 versus 1 and 2 2v1s. So those were potentially 3 gun rounds that could have gone their way, but they unfortunately weren't able to capitalize on those, and they lost those clutches. And because of that, they ended up having relatively miserable half.
Yeah.
And Electronic, I mean, he had the hot hand in the opening half. He's still continuing on. He picks up 2 more kills into this round. World Edit with the UMP is going to find 2. That's $1,200 cash money going to be on his back. As he's sitting at 14-8, 15-8 for Spaze, 12-9 for Doja. It's Hooch that's been quiet, 9-12, but he has 6 assists, so he's doing the damage and allowing his team to be successful behind him.
And we're going to be projecting into the 18th round now. Russia, they've got 13 rounds to their name, and Turkey, they're going to be buying into this round. Smokes and flashes down towards that A side with a very heavy mid presence from both teams. E1, Mini do get 2, but Space, World Edit, and Doja managing to trade things back in favor of the Russian side. 1-man advantage onto them now. Parker left on his lonesome to hold off this A site is going to get taken down by Electronic, and it's all going to fall in a glove in the blink of an eye. 1 versus 3, rotating in from that B site. And he's going to be pushed up in towards jungle. He might be able to find one on a Hooch here as he pushes out on towards that site. Jumps over into Sandwich. Oh, sorry, up onto Tetris. And he's going to go for the peak, falls into stairs to bait him out. And World Edit picks up the frag as a result. 14-4 is going to be the scoreline now in Turkey. They're forced down onto either an eco or a force buy here.
You know, I kind of think that this was Turkey's plan all along. Play out the first one, win the first map, lose the second map, and then hopefully the qualifiers are all said and done for the Space Soldiers players so that they can get in and play map number 3.
Yeah,
I'm on to them. I'm starting to
Yeah.
pick up the vibe that they're laying down because I feel like that's going to be the case. I feel like Xantares and Paz are going to make an appearance into this final map, and then we're just going to have a brawl going into map number 3. Now, granted, we might lose you going into the 3rd map because I know that you have some time constraints today.
Yep,
But
that's the
as
one.
far as substitutions, that's probably the weakest substitution that we could go for today.
Yeah, no,
Ooh.
definitely. But yeah, it's going to be down in Mini and Glove. Try and hold this up for Turkey. And as Glove falls, so does the hope of the Turkish side. It's all going to fall in a Mini here. 1 versus 5. CZ in hand. He's got a kit, so he's got a bit of time to work with. But I think the best thing he can hope for here is that he picks up that frag on a Hooch, and he can't even do that. So he goes down, and it's going to go 15-4. Russia taking it to map point now. And of course, Turkey, they're not going to be on the best bit of buys here. They've struggled on full buys. So coming into this, you know, with a few furnaces, hardly any utility. I mean, you've got a flash, a smoke, and a nade. A second flash up on Karis, but that's less than ideal, to say the least. And it is looking like the mid presence is going to be the call to arms here for Russia as they start pushing on out. No damage is done by Karis with the scout here, and, well, Mini's going to find the bullet out of Doja's weapon there into his eye socket as he gets dropped in a very swift fashion. Parker trying to do all he can towards the A site, does get taken down as well. Karis able to chime in with 1, but then nice nade in from Electronics, going to drop him over towards stairs as it just blows his face off the planet of the Earth. What was that? What did that even mean? Planet of the Earth? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But yeah, it's all down to E1 here. 1 versus 4 to try and clutch this out. M4 in hand, and well, he's managed to get himself up into window. Does find 1, but Doja's there to get the trade. And of course, they're really looking in his direction now. They're going to be probably trying to double peek this. Electronic's going to go in for the push, and E1, he does drop down in the mid, so he could get caught off guard here. Electronic managing to land that shot, and it's going to go 16-4 as Russia close out the second map. So it's going to go 1-1 for the series.
Yeah, and really sloppy play on the terrorist side from the Turkish side. They had an opportunity there to get a handful more rounds. I mean, we could have seen an 8-7 halftime score for that, and then potentially given them more of an opportunity going into that CT half. But nevertheless, I mean, let's not take anything away from the Russian side. Electronic player of the match right there, 26-9. He was consistent on train even though they lost that one. And he's going to be your big heavy hitter into this one as well. So we're going to send things back over to the analyst desk so they can break this one down. But for me, the player of this game was definitely Electronic.